everyone, how are you doing? Welcome to another live McCall Media TV episode, whereby today I'm going to be talking to you about social media posts and images, and if it's worth adding images to your posts or not. Now, if I'm totally honest, I actually thought that this was a given. Anybody that is in business kind of would do this naturally, but over the last couple of days, whilst I was researching some content and things to talk about, I actually noticed that this kind of question came up actually on two different social media platforms in two different groups that I'm in, or variations of this question. And I just thought I would basically explain it through a use of a metaphor with you today. So if you can imagine, your social media posts are basically, they are noise along with everybody else's social media posts. And what you need to do is you need to distract your audience to pay attention just for that split second. So let me just explain it to you in this term. Imagine you've got a picnic blanket and it's laid out on the floor, and you get a newspaper and you open it up to a double page spread and you put that on your picnic blanket, and next to it you put a £5 or a £10 note. Okay, now just imagine you're flying over and you look down and you see this picnic blanket on the floor from various different heights. Really, the only thing that you're going to actually pay attention to that's on that picnic blanket is the newspaper, because it is the largest object. So if you imagine that the picnic blanket is your mobile device, your tablet, your monitor, screen, and what you've got is an object lying on that basically is taking up various amounts of real estate space for you on that picnic blanket. And that is essentially what your social media posts are doing on the platforms that you are engaging with. They are acting like big sort of real estate sales boards, as it were. Now, if you only put 1 or 2 lines of text, that's fine, your message is out there, but the chance of people just scrolling through it and actually having their eyes diverted and attracted to your post, unless they are specifically looking for it or they are that familiar with you that they spot your name or your business's name and that they are curious to tune in and see what you're up to in that way, that sense, and that sparks their curiosity, you are literally just going to be scrolled on past. So realistically, if you want to spend all that time, energy and effort putting all those different posts out there on your social media platforms, you need to break through that noise, and the easiest way to do that is with something visual. Now, if you imagine, everybody has this moment where you're walking along the street and a good looking guy or girl on the other side of the road catches your eye. That's because we are attracted to other people. And so the same thing happens visually when we are looking at posts. We're scrolling, and something about a visual item on a post will grab your attention. And what you need to do is you need to work out for your audience what that is for you and how that interacts with your target audience and how you can engage and incorporate that into your social media posts. And one of the things that I have played with recently over the last maybe 3 or 4 months is I've actually looked at the analytics where I've posted on 2 or 3 different platforms the same content, but I've put one with an image, one with a photo, and one with a kind of funky coloured background with just text. That man being obviously Facebook, you could probably guess. But I have played, and then I've given it a couple of weeks, and then I've actually put another post out pretty much identical, and I've muddled around with all the different visual content to see how it works. Every single time, the post with the actual photo, as opposed to just a generic graphic, is the one that wins hands down with regards to the statistics of viewers and attention and click through. So realistically, if you break it down to what the actual job of that photo is, it's probably more important and powerful to your post and its purpose for existing than the actual message that you're doing, because the job of the photo or the image in that post is to literally stop a person from scrolling. Now, don't forget, we're not always just using computers here. We're out and about, we're busy, we could be on the school run, sitting in the car, looking at our mobile phones, and we're scrolling, burning some time, and we just need to grab that person's attention for a few seconds. And in those few seconds, or milliseconds I should say, what we need is we need people to take action, and that generally is probably clicking on the post or following a link in the description of something, in the bump that goes around that image, in order to get a call to action and a click through to something else. Now, when you're thinking about that kind of engagement process, what you've got to remember, there's that old school rule of thumb that it takes, 3 seconds for people to make a judgment on whether they're going to click or look or sort of engage with the post. And if I'm really honest, my personal opinion on that is that it's less than 3 seconds. I think that was one of those old school rules of thought that basically came about a good sort of 30, 40, 50 years ago, as media was involved with things like TV, advertising broadcasts, newspapers, flyers through your door. But I think the world has evolved so much since then that actually what we do is we are so accustomed to receiving visual advertising sort of images and graphics at us all the time that I think that we actually have milliseconds where we make that split judgment. And the same thing happens with video, which is why I'm also doing a lot of the video lives right now, because it takes up a large amount of real estate space. So what your basic your entire ethos, shall we say, about posting isn't the message in the post, is about getting a call to action or a click through. And the easiest way to achieve that is to make sure that the image that you are presenting in that post has a visual component to it that basically stops somebody in their track. Now, you might want to play with the words that you want to use, or you just might want to use photos. Like I just said to you a minute ago, when I've done some research in the past, photos come up strongest every single time. One of the things that I would say is that you can't sell your entire business's value, worth, and your years of experience and expertise in literally a few lines of text that support an image in a post. So you must get out of the mindset of trying to sell in the post itself. You've just got to realize it is a tool, and its objective for existing is to basically get somebody to take a click action through to another stage in your sales funnel process to be able to collect their information somewhere else further down the line. And so what your entire focus should be is basically getting somebody to stop scrolling, so they're going through their phone and they literally stop and pause. That focus has got to be like, what is it that you're on about, so they want to see if they can take action or there is a desire there, and then a call through to somewhere else where they can go and find out more information about what you're talking about. So if you think of it in the sense of, it's kind of like a teaser, dangling a carrot. You know that they've got a solution to whatever it is that you've got going on, whether you're trying to buy something, whether you're trying to find a service provider for something, but you can't obtain more information unless you take that next step. And that's when the click-through rates start to basically, you can do your calculations on your click-through rates, is what I'm trying to say, with regards to how that post is performing for you. So as a quick summary, the entire ethos of today's video is obviously about answering the question, is it worth putting images into your social media posts? Personally speaking, I think if you don't do so, you're missing a complete trick. I think you're just, black or sort of noise on any platform that is busy. You're just going to be noise. And the easiest way to think about, do you ever remember the Matrix, in that clip in the film when, I can't remember the character's name, but he's talking about life in like an urban city, and there was this black suit after black suit after black suit, and then there's this really pretty blonde haired girl in a red dress walking against the traffic. That is essentially the entire ethos of what social media is like now, and the amount of noise that is taking place on and that you have to cut through and break through. So the easiest way to do that is to think very hard about your images. I would always recommend you using a photo over an actual graphic. Think very hard about what your message is and what your click-through action is, because at the end of the day, you want people to stop, read, and then do something. And that is the point of your images. And I would always advocate the fact that you should use images in your social media posts. So I hope that kind of clarifies that point. This is quite a new concept to my life. So if you are watching this for the first time, I'm not sure which platform. I can see that people are popping on and off, but I can't see which platform at the moment, because I am live on Periscope, Twitter, Facebook, will be LinkedIn in the future when they sort out my application, and YouTube. But please do put any comments in the post below. I will surf through all of these different platforms later on and answer any questions that are going on. So thank you very, very much for watching. I hope that kind of clarifies that question for you. And if you do have any questions, use the hashtag AskMcCallMedia on the social network of your choice. I will find it. I've got a Google alert telling me when it's used, and I will come across your question and I would happily feature it in one of my daily lives. So thank you very much for watching, and I will see you at some point tomorrow. Ta-da!